Have you ever eaten a crystal of salt? In your mouth it burns, it stings. It is impossible to eat it like that. And yet, without salt, every dish is tasteless. This is you. This is us Christians in the world, not something we should become, but what Jesus already says of us today. He does not say, you will be, but you are the salt of the earth, because His word, when it reaches us, creates what it announces. We are in the Sermon on the Mount, before the risen Christ who looks at our concrete history and speaks to it. A Christian is someone in whom Christ lives. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. He is the one who has the power to live by dying, to give life for the other. Whoever allows himself to be crucified with Him receives a new life, a light that does not come from himself, a salt that enters conversations, relationships, study, work, friendship. That is why Jesus makes us a you, in the plural. Salvation does not dwell in an isolated I, but in a people where brothers love one another, forgive one another, and consume themselves for one another. In the church, the I is taken by the hand, through the word and the sacraments, and is shaped into a real we, made of faces, tears, and forgiven sins. And as the risen Christ breaks down the walls of sin and stitches wounds back together, the light begins to shine, not on solitary heroes, but on this you that does not keep the light for itself, and reflects, like the moon, the light of Christ. Even science suggests this to us. Light behaves like particles, photons, but spreads as electromagnetic waves. As the wavelength changes, the color we perceive changes. So too, without the you, without the communion of different wavelengths intertwined, the universe would remain dark and colorless. You need the church, the brothers who correct you, bear with you, and sustain you, so that the light of Christ may take flesh in concrete relationships and become visible. Without the Spirit dwelling in Christians, the earth remains arid and handed over to the serpent. Without the light of their life, the world remains under the dominion of a proud and selfish prince. That is why the world needs the whiteness of the resurrection, the white robes of the baptized, made radiant in the purifying blood of the Lamb. But the risk of losing flavor always remains. Routine, worries, and the anxiety of the world can corrode the memory of our calling until we become tasteless, irrelevant to our spouse, to our children, to those beside us. And yet precisely what burns becomes the salt that preserves love from corruption, the unjust word, rejection, slander, persecution, misunderstandings in the family, differences with one's spouse, economic insecurity, everything the world sees as a reason to flee, to divorce, to abort. In the risen Christ, all this becomes the concrete place where peace, meekness, and purity of heart are preserved, and a new light is kindled upon the mercy of God. To be salt and light means to be crucified with Christ where we are, allowing His victory over death to enter our fragile flesh. Every event, even the one we would not have chosen, becomes a lampstand on which the Lord places us, a wounded marriage, a difficult child, an illness, a failure, loneliness. There the salt reveals its flavor, and the light its strength. The Bible speaks of a covenant of salt. To eat someone's salt means to enter his house, to share his life, to make an indissoluble covenant with him. On the cross, Christ offers us His salt, the flavor of His Passover. And every time we eat with Him the harsh salt of the cross, we accept being members of His household. Yes, salt burns in the mouth. It burns like the salt Christ ate for you on the cross. It burns like the Beatitudes burn. It burns every time you allow yourself to be consumed for love. But without this burning, no dish has flavor, and life remains without taste and without hope. Salt and light, hope offered to every person.